Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, I'm Debbie Pixton with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing Meesha Gerhart, founder and CEO of RedTree Web Design. Thank you so much for joining us, Meesha.
Thanks for having me, Debbie.
Meesha, tell us a little bit about RedTree Web Design.
RedTree Web Design was founded in 2015. We're just celebrating our 5th year, which is something I'm very proud of. And we specialize specifically in creating websites. So the things that you would go and you would find that represents a business, that talks about a business and showcases events, things along those lines. We create all of those for a lot of businesses.
That's great. How did you get into web design?
So my path to web design actually started from an art background, actually. So when I was in high school, I always used to love to create things. I knew that I wanted to go and do something artistic and creative, but I also knew that I needed to make money. And I was raised by two military individuals, and being self-sufficient was important. So I went to college, learned a little bit more about utilizing creativity on the computer. And when I was in school, websites had just recently started to be created. They were even being created in different ways. But I absolutely fell in love with how a website could represent a business or a person or an art or whatever it is that they were actually trying to portray. And it was interesting to me because a website ended up being an extension of the person, the business.
Meesha, what are some things that you look for in the people that you hire?
The biggest thing that I look for in the people that I'm hiring is open-mindedness. So open-mindedness and willingness, I would say. So a lot of my team has not had the education that has led them to their current role. So basically the role that they're in at my company is not something that they went to school for or anything else, but they had a specific type of characteristic. So for example, my current project manager, she didn't go to school to be a project manager, but she was really good at client relations. That's not something that I can really teach. Everything else I could teach, but she was open-minded and she was willing to learn the other things because she wanted to get into the project management. Someone was giving her an opportunity. Same thing for my developer and my designer. They didn't have that education background that led them to where it is, but they were open-minded and they're willing to grow and to learn with the company and where the company needed them to go. And I think in a small business, it's almost like required because a small business especially, shifts so much, and you need sometimes your team to maybe fill a gap that isn't inside of their project description or maybe isn't inside of their wheelhouse, but they're willing to try. That's always my big thing is if my team is willing to try things, then I will do anything and everything for my team.
Meesha, what questions should students ask themselves if they're thinking about getting into something like web design, where there's this huge intersection of industries between technology, marketing, arts, business? Can you talk a little bit about what might be helpful to help them see if this is a good fit for them?
I mean, of course, I think that it's a great fit for anyone, right? Because I'm a nerd and I think websites are amazing. And I think everyone should become a web designer. I think for me, one of the biggest traits, and I talked a lot about being a learner, but for me, it's also a flip side of you need to be a good listener and you really need to understand who it is that you're creating something for. And if you're not able to really sit down and listen to another business, another artist, another person that you're trying to create something for, and truly understand what that business is trying to convey or that person is trying to achieve, then it becomes very difficult for you to create something, right? Because the technology, the business acumen, the business understanding, these are just things that you learn, right? These are things that are tools. But to truly listen, that's almost kind of like built in. That is something you can learn, but you really need that because everything else is just a tool that you use after you've gotten done listening.
Meesha, what's one more piece of advice you would offer to students who are considering a career in web design?
I would say if you're considering a career in web design, there's enough resources out there that, we live in an age right now where the internet is free. And the amount of content that people are sharing is amazing. I wish the internet was what it was when I was graduating high school, because I'd almost wouldn't have, I don't know that I would have needed to go to school. I could have learned by doing, and then also and going to school as in college, stay in high school. I don't know that I would have needed to go to college. I would have probably just started creating websites for people, listening and learning and developing my craft by actually executing. And I think that in my industry, there's definitely a lot of education that you can go and get, and that may be beneficial for some. For others, it might just be learning by doing. And that would be my only suggestion is, if you think that this is something that you would want, go out there and try to do a free trial with Squarespace or Wix or Weebly and kind of like click around. Or do you have a friend who, wants to start a lemonade stand, but wants to do it digitally? And maybe you guys could come up with something together and see if you really enjoy it. See if you really like it. There's tons of free resources out there that you can really start to dip your toe, and don't be afraid by it too. Right. So even if you do one, and it's never, my team and I always have this joke that the first one that we always do is always the worst. So you're going to do, we do one and we know that it's going to be bad, but we need to do the first one. And then we kind of like throw that out. And then we start with another one, especially if we're doing deep development and a lot of applications and things. But if your gut is telling you something, my gut knew that I wanted to be in something creative, and I had ideas and I had creativity, run with those and try to find something that is out there that you can use those things and still make money doing them. That's the hard part. But I think we live in an age these days that you can truly do what you want. If you want to be a dancer, you can figure out ways of dancing and making that money. And I think that that's a lot of, one of the things that I would have learned a little bit sooner is that I can do creative things and still make money. And then that way I don't have to feel like I need to go to work every day. I want to go to work every day. I get out of bed and I'm happy to be doing what it is that I'm doing. And that's the biggest thing is, try to do the things that you truly do love.
So, Meesha, you are passionate about women as entrepreneurs and girls becoming entrepreneurs. Can you talk a little bit about that passion?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, to quote Beyonce, right? Who runs the world? Girls. And for me, that's who I think is going to make this world better, especially from a business sense, from an economic sense. I feel that women have a better way of seeing a fuller picture. I feel that they also have a unique perspective of bringing in a little bit of emotion into business, which from my standpoint, I think is something that is needed for future leaders, for future business developments. But I would want to see basically every single girl, woman start their own business because I think that they would be able to make more money. I think they would be able to thrive more. I think they would be able to lead more. And this may be a one-sided view from a woman entrepreneur, but I want more women to come into business, because when women come into business, I see real impact and change. So I would want every single girl that watches this to run the world and start their own business.
Meesha, this has been really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us today.
Thank you very much.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!